Okay, hi, hello, hi everyone. Sorry we're a bit late. We got caught up with technical glitches. I think we needed IT support. For some reason, things didn't work as expected. But can you hear us? Can you see us? Can you hear us? Okay. Feel free to share in the chat. Okay. Yeah, and if you can't see us, but I think I can see we're live. So feel free to write, okay, to share your thought. And yeah, sorry, technical issues. Anyway, I'm Daniele, and as you probably know, or if you don't know what I'm going to share, I usually speak to non-native speakers of English. And today, for a change, I thought I was going to talk to a native speaker of English. But funny enough, Liam here considers himself a non-native speaker of English, which is quite interesting when you think that he's Irish. But Liam, so tell us a bit more. What's the story with this?
Yeah, well, I like to think that in Ireland, Daniela, we speak a version of English. It's most certainly not the Queen's English. It's a different version of English. So, we get very passionate about our history and our background. So, we I've always tried to explain people why we use to English people. I've always tried to explain why we use sentences that they don't understand, and vice
Yeah,
versa. And I think it sort of goes back to the fact that we were always at one stage speaking Gaelic Irish language, and then we changed suddenly to English, sort of not quite overnight, but sort of overnight. And I don't think we ever really grammatically, followed the patterns of English. So if you're Italian and you're coming and you're working in London and you're expecting to go hear the exact same phrases in
yeah.
Dublin, probably not.
No, it's not the way it works,
No,
is it?
no, no.
Great. Okay. Okay. So, well, let's say then that I consider you a non-native speaker of English. So you fit perfectly in what I usually do. But like, well, let's start. From the beginning. So, can you tell us? So, what do you do, and what did you used to do? So that why are you here, really?
Yeah. So how do I get time to skive off and go on calls with Italian guys? Yeah, no, I worked in the corporate sector for many years, in various office roles. I'd done that for a long time, more or less up until just pre-pandemic, I guess thereabouts. I'd already started morphing into another sort of role. So I set up my own tour company. I've been working in the tour sector for some time, and I set up my own company, and
Right.
that's what I'm doing now, running tours across this glorious land of ours. The old
Yeah,
Emerald
yeah.
Isle, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great combination, I believe, because you started, as you said, like you have a long experience in the corporate sector in IT. And
Yeah,
then, as many of us, you are a career switcher. So you're now, leading your tours. So you're an entrepreneur, a founder, a tour guide.
mhm,
And you're passionate about Irish culture and Irish history,
yeah,
of course. And I thought this was like an interesting topic because Ireland, yeah, we all know Ireland, like the culture, the history. But recently Ireland has become one of the top destinations for tech and IT, which is recent. Well, not so recent maybe, but it is surely expanding, right?
mhm,
And so I find this an incredible combination. Yeah. So tech, IT, and Ireland. So
mhm.
and so this is why I said, okay, let's talk about it. And who should I talk to? Well, you, because you are IT and Ireland combined in one person. So I mean, we all love this uh, language, idioms, and the fact, as you mentioned it, that you speak a different version of English. So going back to your IT years, uh, would you have like any funny stories or any misunderstandings so that we start with some crack, as you guys say?
With some crack. Yeah, absolutely, with some crack. Yeah, no. Absolutely. And I mean, when you think of our paths first cross, Danielle, you'd already taken that journey. You'd been immersing yourself in Ireland, and we moved in the same sector. And if you recall back those days, they used to just, they had a whole very simple buddy up system. Some new guy started, sat beside you for a week and
Yes.
followed you. And that's where the challenges became, because when two Irish guys, and you've probably sat in the company of two Irish guys and realized how fast we talk,
Yes.
it can be a
Yeah.
challenge. And believe it or not, this is me trying very hard to speak slowly, so I have to rein myself in a little.
Yeah. Slow down, man.
Slow down, yeah. Always what I hear quite a lot working in the industry. But yeah, I do remember a chap. It's quite funny. A guy from Poland. We worked with many great Polish people, and a lot of them are still good friends. But very simple, sit down beside Liam and learn the ropes as such, and I was just showing a very straightforward, boring Excel file, populate this and
As
populate
you
that.
do.
I was saying, yeah, you've got to put your contacts in here. You get a new contact, you put it in there, and you hit enter. And I just said, but don't worry about it. And he said, I won't. And I said, what? And he said, I'm not going to worry about it. And I said, why? I don't understand. And he says, well, you told me not to worry about it, but I don't really worry about things like this. And I said, well, I don't mean you don't have to worry about it. You do have to worry about it a little bit, because you have to do this. But you're telling me not to worry. And I said, okay, let's start from the beginning here. Every so often hit this enter button, You do have to worry about it. So then it sort of had me thinking, as I began to work a lot more and more with different, I mean, we had nationalities from everywhere, hadn't we? We had Italian, Spanish, German, French,
Yeah.
Polish, everywhere, which was, that was again a sudden overnight thing in Ireland. All of a sudden we had all these languages to sort of challenge our communications. And yeah, I had to ask myself that, like, is that the right way to say things to people? Don't worry about it. Because imagine all
Yeah.
these guys going off, chilling out, they should be working. Hey, Liam told us not to worry about it.
Exactly.
We, we,
Yeah.
we
But
took the day off. He told us to not worry.
exactly. It doesn't sound, because sometimes people get confused, but this doesn't sound very British, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Or maybe you should worry a little bit.
Yeah, a little, and I mean, we'd lots of them, those type of misunderstandings. It worked in reverse as well, like an Italian colleague, not you, Daniel, and
No, it wasn't me.
a guy we both know very well, shall we say? But I remember the very first early interaction, and this gentleman had to come over and asked me something, and I was explaining to him. And when it was finished, I just say, "Hey, I'll see you after." And he stood there, and I looked at him and said, "Do you want anything else?" And he says, "See you after what?" And I said, he said, after lunch. I said, no. I said, what do you want to see me after lunch for? And he says, well, I'm just trying to, understand when you want to see me again. And I said, no, when I see you after, say see you after, it doesn't mean see you full stop. It's, actually, I shouldn't have added the word after in there. No, but that's a very Irish thing to say. We love the word after, and we throw it in every sentence. We just love.
Yes. But this is confusing, This is confusing for someone who is not used to that. So see you after, and then you're there. Yeah, after. Can you please continue the sentence?
Yeah.
And another interesting thing you mentioned, you were just sitting there, and with a guy, he had to learn the ropes. So you threw in an idiom there. Why did you do that, Liam?
Why? That's a very good question. Why did I do it? It's just when you talk, when we talked about that, and we were half joking but half serious, I am slowing down. But as much as we try in communications, we always revert back to what's comfortable to us, how we spoke with our friends, how we speak with our family. And as much as you get your business head engaged, you will always revert to those, if you like, common phrases that you use, that you've always used. And they'll always, especially when you're relaxed, you put those phrases in, don't you? So I'm not putting them in there to test the guy to see how good his English is. I'm actually just, hey, yeah, this is that, but we speak of those idioms, vernacular, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's just inherent in us, and it'll come out regularly. So
Yeah, but I mean, this is fine because we just got a comment from someone saying that they love the way Irish sound. So you're fine. You can carry on doing it.
yeah, once I'm smiling, it's good. When I'm not smiling, that's pretty universal, So,
Yeah, I'd say so. You can get away with a good smile.
yeah.
Absolutely. Right. So an interesting fact, right? So you defined yourself as a non-native English speaker, and which is ironic. And let's say this is this
A
is
little, a
correct,
little.
right? But one funny thing is one thing that I hear a lot. So is it true that like even the Irish with these IT and tech boom in the country had
Hmm.
to adapt to business and corporate jargon? So is that true?
100%. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I mean, I think the business jargon, I see it like Esperanto, I see it as an artificial made up language. I don't see it as anything that there are other words that already existed, but we just reused them for other things, like synergy. Synergy existed for yonks of years, but then all of a sudden the corporate got hold of it and said, we're going to make that word our own. But we would have faced the exact same challenges as non-native speakers coming to Ireland, because again, with the IT sector becoming so fast, and all these companies, a lot of the corporate companies from the US came over together, um we were speaking all this new way, and we're just, I mean, we were really sort of getting the boy in a wing, pretending we understood most of it. I'm not quite sure I still do, but I just know you just learn how to use them, and they really were, like, when you think of it, what are we talking about? Ballpark figure and all these, and circle back, and
Yes, exactly. Yeah, let's
yeah,
circle back. Okay, like a lot of people see this, and it's quite common, but then people are always puzzled. What is that circle back? You try to make some sense of it,
yeah.
but it doesn't make sense. So
Yeah, it doesn't. Well, I mean, if you circle back on something, I guess you go around the circle and come back to the starting point.
okay,
So
yeah.
if we met in a meeting room and we said we circle back at 4 o'clock, I guess reconvene and see how the land lies. I guess it's an old Western term that we will circle back in our wagons or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
it is. But like the funny thing about it, and it would have been the same for us. We never wanted to appear dumb, so we never actually asked, does anyone know what this means? We just all we're like newborns learning a language. We said, well, everyone's saying this, so if we say it, we'll probably fit in. And rather than saying that, and I
Yeah.
just, I have no idea what anyone's talking about, but I don't want to be that person,
Yeah, you don't want to be that person, and
you
this
know.
is the exact same feeling I had,
Mm,
because I came from like a standard English course,
yes,
so I studied the grammar, the vocabulary, all the skills, got my certificate, and so I felt, okay, I'm ready now. I'm ready for the real thing. And then first you go to Ireland, you can't understand anything. Then you go to your companies, your American corporation, and people use this strange language. So at the beginning, I thought it was me. So I said, okay, I can't understand. So I have to start studying all over again. And then,
yes,
after so many years, I find out that you were there sitting, simply, you didn't want to be the first person to ask.
yes.
So yeah, we are probably feeling quite the same when we were sitting in those training rooms, or we were learning new things in the corporate, uh, in
Can
the
I
corporation. But yeah,
can I fit in a quick story from
yeah, of course.
past? It's a lady. I don't want to say her name. We call her Debbie. She's actually Debs, but we call her Debbie, so she won't know who we're talking about. But anyway, we worked in this place, and Debbie was from Coolock, and we used to go to this production type meeting where different people from different areas would. There'd be a guy calling out, what happened, what's happening, what the schedule is, are we on schedule? This was all based on shipments. Shipments were key. Dates had to be done, met, and so on. And we'd go in every morning, and we'd all give our thoughts. And the main guy was loved the business jargon, absolutely lived it. I don't think he spoke any other sentences that didn't. So he was all about, let's all circle back here, and if we pivot this in the right way, and we all synergize all this. And he's going, and he goes to Debbie at the end of it, and her final job, she's ultimately the one who puts the stuff out the door. She's the one who says, yeah, go or no. He's looking at it. He's saying, we need to know, and we all have to sing from the same hymn sheet. She here, we need to, and she goes, listen, Frank, I've no effing idea what you're talking about, but if you're asking me, will they ship on Friday? Yes, they will. And he goes, fantastic. That's all I want to know.
Yes, but that's it.
She nodded along to all these phrases, but she was honest enough to say, I have no idea what any of them mean.
Yeah.
So, bit of a hero of mine.
Which is crazy, when you think, I mean, you're supposed to be speaking the same language, but in reality, it's just not the way it is. And so there's ballpark figure, pivot, leverage is my favorite, and these days it's just whenever I hear leverage, I just go, okay, you have to stop this conversation. Okay?
Where's the lever?
Let's just stop.
Is there a lever in this office that I should know about?
Yeah. And so I mean, in a way, it is good to know that we're not alone. We are in the same boat on this,
Living in the country where it's all used is not. What I would say, I know we're making a bit of jokes about it, but it does sort of serve it's a necessary evil sometimes, I think, because for that pure reason that you're learning the way we're learning it, so it does become a sort of a common language, like a universal sign language that we all use. We have our own little languages, but this is one that everybody is sort of using. And in that case, it did make some sense. I look back now, and I rarely use the phrases in my current role, obviously, because it's a straightforward, it's a straight shooting role where people just like to hear your honest opinion and your Irish way of saying things. But when we're all working together from different backgrounds, it sort of made a little bit of sense that we all learned these phrases, and at least knew roughly what they worked in. They didn't change anything. Someone saying we all need to sing off the same hymn sheet. We didn't go off and gain anything from someone saying that to us. It wasn't us. But we understood what it meant. And
and like Debbie said, okay, are we going to ship it? Yes. Okay, that's it. That's all I need to know, really. Then you can pivot and circle back as much as you want, but I got my answer, so I'm fine. Yes, that's it. And what about the way of, like, the different way of working? So all these corporations came to Ireland, and they're mostly American corporations, and they have their headquarters, the European headquarters in Ireland. We won't go into the reasons why this has happened, but surely, this is, again, coming from the same language, but culture-wise, there must have been some differences that even you guys had to adapt to, I suppose.
Yeah, no, it was very, it really was. The amount of misunderstandings. The American groups, similar. I've seen the same. I work with Australian groups. I have in the past. They're quite dynamic. They're quite, let's get out there and get it done. While Irish, I think, and Italians are quite similar. We tend to have a more laid back approach where our brains are working, but it doesn't look like it. You know what it is. But we're not so enthusiastic about things that don't involve Guinness, but or football. But it was really difficult to sort of I guess understand how the corporates worked, what their expectations were, and how you fit in, or if you were into climbing the ladder, how exactly did you do that? Was it by passing? It wasn't really by passing exams, or was it based? It was a sort of strange ways you had to figure that out. What impresses this organization? What's their ethic? It wasn't really good enough just to be good enough. It was. You have to learn certain things to, if you like, climb the ladder, or
like become more visible, devise a strategy to make whatever you were doing more visible. and connect with this different approach, like get things done,
Yeah.
rather than just thinking over, and then it's all different. So as you said, the word you use, dynamic, I think it's a fitting one, because
Well,
that's
yeah.
how it felt. It
Do
felt
you
pretty
remember we
dynamic.
used to have to? Do you remember, Daniela, said that we used to have this idea? We'd go in and get these reviews. You'd go into an office and somebody would assess how you're getting on, and
Yeah,
we had
exactly,
to do
those
that. We
regular performance
regular,
reviews. Yeah,
yeah,
performance
and
reviews. Yeah.
we had a guy over. We had a big branch near New York, and asked us how we're getting on. And I walked in and sat there, and it was the analogies were all about being in the trench and getting out of the trench, and pulling
Gosh.
together and having the back of the unit and all this. And when I came out, my friend and colleague was going in. He said, "How'd you get on?" I said, "I'm not sure, but I think we're going to war with someone or other." I said, "I think we're invading
Where's my
Italy.
helmet?
I'm not sure. We're coming into battle, so we better get." I better get things sorted at home, But it was just funny. But I mean, you did have to get used to that sort of, ultra enthusiasm, if you like,
Yes.
where like it wouldn't have come natural to me, and I don't think it comes natural to Italians either. You also have to learn, like, and I was told several times to sing my own praises. Again, it's something that doesn't come, something we're not comfortable with.
Okay, can
You
you
know,
explain this expression? Sing
sing
our
your
own
own
praises.
praises.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is a
talk about how
lovely
great you
one.
are.
But you need to explain it now.
Yeah, we would call it singing your own praises. So obviously, in a normal world, somebody else would be saying how good you are at certain things. But in the corporate sector, um, it's not really natural for Irish people to talk about how great they are at things. Are It's just not. It's something we don't do. Um, and I was actually told on several occasions in a positive way. Look, you should really be shouting a bit more. You should be getting credit for things and standing up and
Yeah.
getting your name mentioned a little bit more. And that was the thing. Yeah, we call it singing your praises, as in
Yes.
you're the footballer shouting your own name. I am.
Exactly.
Imagine a
Yeah.
footballer
It's
running forward
me.
and
Yeah.
shouting his own. Well, some footballers do actually point at their own
They
name.
go like
You
that.
know,
Imagine
but
you're in an office and you go like,
yeah,
"Yay, it's me!"
yeah,
I got that
imagine.
sorted. Right. Right. Yeah.
I don't think
That's
footballers go around chanting their own name as we're on the field. But
that's an interesting take, anyway. Yeah. And
hmm,
no, we talked about conversation stories. We talked about the Irish and the Americans, the Italians. So one thing that I see coming up very often is this small talk, right?
yeah,
And small talk is something that scares people, because like you're supposed to socialize, but then depending on the country you go to, people have different ways of socializing. You go to England, you go to Germany, you go to France, you go to America, you go to Australia. So what is the approach people have in Ireland? The approach to small talk. I know
I
you
was
guys
curious.
love talking about the weather, but
We do, we do love talking about the weather. I think we just love talking full stop. I think that's the problem. Um, I mean, we don't. I wouldn't even in Ireland. I wouldn't even call it small talk, Daniel. We'd call it friendliness, and we consider that really important to our own. And just to give you a recent example, when I started this journey of setting up a company myself and I left big corporate world where all the support units behind you, different departments. I didn't have any of that, so I had to gain partners and work with people, and I really had to start. I understood the importance of getting on with people and building relationships. And one person who was a vendor of mine, he runs hotels. I had to go meet him, and what actually endeared him to me was we spent 20 minutes talking about, well, first of all, football, Gaelic football, Irish football. Then we moved on to debate of whether Guinness or Murphy's is the better drink. And this is like this guy who runs 7 hotels. He's a busy man. But we sat there, and that small talk in the version of small talk, with that small talk or that friendliness has helped us build a really, really good relationship. And
right.
the groups I can bring to Ireland can benefit for this, because this guy really looks after our groups, looks after me because he likes me and I like him. And isn't life so much easier when that's the situation? And that's small talk. That's not because,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
giving him the best contract he's ever got, or I'm giving him the biggest business. I'd be relatively small business to him, but there's a relationship there, and that's from small
Yeah.
talk.
Absolutely. So that is great advice. So
Mm.
uh, people, if you go to Ireland, the Irish do love small talk. So don't be don't be afraid to be friendly, I suppose, and to
Yeah,
talk about things that interest you.
yeah,
I mean, there is one thing that has always puzzled me and keeps puzzling people. This, how are you? Right? Well, it comes in different versions, but the reality is that you say how are you, and then you either go how are you on the, or you get these people explaining actually how they truly feel. So yeah, no,
mm.
today is just not my day. I have to go to the dentist. Wait. So
Didn't expect an answer.
so what are you supposed to reply when people say how are you?
Yeah, well, in Ireland specifically, we'd never even say how are you. We'd probably say how ya.
Oh yeah,
We'd
exactly.
shorten it. We like shortening things. And Dublin specifically, we'll say what's the story. Story. And actually, we shortened that. We sometimes just go story with it.
Sorry.
Story.
Okay.
That's the general greeting of hello. There's no expectation whatsoever to say anything back, but it's sort of frowned upon when you don't say anything back. You do have to. If you're passing the corridor and so that right, you might just say right. I'm not
Right.
all right. We wouldn't even go to are you all right? We're way too busy for that. So we just go right.
Right.
It's all in the head movement. But it is very important. I mean, they're trivial things, but you will actually, again, you could actually misrepresent yourself by. I mean, I know so many people from different countries who I know now are very good friends of mine, but at the time we might have thought they weren't that friendly or they were a little bit, they didn't want to know, and that isn't the case. But that was just based on a casual greeting. Uh, you know, um, you
So
know, you go and say, "You okay?" to someone, you go, "Pass that Italian fecker there today." I said hello to him, and he just walked straight by me. And you might, you'd say, "Well, he's asked me how I am. I've nothing to say here," But
yeah, that's
you know,
it. Yeah,
uh,
but people get genuinely offended because
yeah,
they
we
ask
do.
how are you, and you don't reply. Say, come on,
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you.
Yeah, we're Irish people in general. It's very little that offends us in terms. It's more of a. If I was thinking of the person who's coming here and trying to, you're obviously trying to blend in and everything. They're just little things that probably just be aware of. You're not going to be shunned from society or anything, but people might approach you again because, or might even invite you out for a drink because well, he's a bit standoffish.
Right.
Probably, what happened, and nearly 99% of the people I've had that encounter with, I've subsequently found out they're actually great, great fun. They're great crack. But that little original hello passing in the corridor type thing, could mislead.
Yes, it could. It could. I
They,
agree with you. It could. Yeah, it's. I mean, obviously we're joking, yeah, and we were the other day we were talking, and like it's like having this sort of Joyce mentality when we speak. So
yeah,
speak in one never-ending flow of
yeah,
communication. Yeah,
yes.
which is one way, I suppose, to see it.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, no, we do. That whole thing about Ulysses and Joyce. Well, obviously sounded very funny that he obviously said he wrote this book and there's no full stops or commas in it and so on, punctuations. And I said, well, that's probably the genius of the book. I said because that's how our Irish people are we're very subconscious speakers. Everything that's in there just comes out somewhere, But
yeah,
it's no real. We're not overly worried about what order it comes in.
which
So
which goes back to the challenge of slowing down, which is
yeah,
what we said at the beginning.
yeah,
Right. So Liam, we mentioned Ireland and we spoke about the culture and the relationship with the corporate language,
yeah,
which again we're still trying to demystify. Um, so Ireland is definitely one of the top destinations right now for IT, tech for business in general. And there's the corporations, as we said, the big giant tech giants are there. The Silicon Docks are there. The Dublin Docks have been renamed. In
Mm.
case you didn't know, I'm telling you now. Silicon Docks, yeah.
Makes my life hell as a tour guide. I've just remembered what the last one's called, and they've changed it again.
They do. And so, what can people expect really when they come to Ireland in terms? So, I'd like to explore both sides from people who come for the tech or the IT, people who come just to visit for pleasure.
Yeah.
So, what should I expect really?
Well, I think certainly coming from the IT side, I think it's Ireland's famous as a friendly place, and it really is. You do have those challenges of languages, but I think most companies, a lot of the US companies that come to Ireland, they're very open. They have when I think about it, no one ever asked me what time I start at, what time I finish at. It's very relaxed as long as you get on with things. There's a lot of freedom, and I think that works very well with Ireland. I think we were made for flexi time. I think if there's one country who do flexi very well, it's the Irish. 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, they're in the they're more or less the same time as far as Irish people are concerned. But I think people like that, and I think they they can flourish very well in Ireland. You can go from sector to sector, but I think the friendliness of the Irish does help with people coming from there's a lot of people have come here with haven't known nobody. They just came literally for the career opportunity.
Right.
And I think it's a great opportunity for them to, Irish people, if you meet them halfway, will always, I've had people I've worked with in my home. I've brought people for Christmas dinner because they couldn't get home. Irish people are warm. I think it's a very nice place to work. I mean, in all the years I worked together in the environment with yourself, the people were the one thing that you look back on and that you still got that connection with, because it was an open, friendly vibe.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
And,
which is completely opposite to the idea you get of tech and corporates. Corporations. You think of that very specific and highly skilled sort of approach to work, to life. And then the contrast is the sort of Irish warmth, which, I mean, it's a plus. I think it's a plus for people who, if any of you have had opportunities to travel to Ireland, even for 1 or 2 days for an event, you would realize, that there is this sort of friendliness, this warmth, and what Liam is actually describing, I can confirm. It is true. Having been there for a while,
Yeah.
So some people, I'm just checking, the comments, and I see Andrea is, she's saying she's extremely friendly, so I must have some Irish in me.
I won't go. There's a joke there, but I'm not going to go there.
No, don't do that.
When I seen that one that says I love idioms, I thought I said I love idiots, and I said that's it. I don't know if that's a compliment or anyway. Just a thing on that. I know you have a time constraint there. And then the other side of you mentioned about visitors coming here. When you finish your work in the corporate sector and you've done a few years and you go on to do other things as we are or whatever, you'll never go back and say they had a fantastic Excel spreadsheet. You'll always talk about it was a great team or it was a great people I worked with. And it's the exact same with the visitors experience. I collate all reviews. I have to obviously get the reviews from people. It's so important to me. And all their takes on Ireland, I absolutely love. They're very personalized, but they always talk about the people they met. They've seen all these castles and they've seen the Cliffs of Moher, they've seen all these great things, but they always revert back to the evening they had in the pub or the cafe or the engagement they had at an Irish dance night, or I think that's so important. In both sectors when people come here, it's really the connections and the immersive experience you have with people that I think sets us apart a little bit.
Yes, I agree. So let's forget about Excel spreadsheet. Let's
You're never going
connect.
to say what's the highlight of your life. So about 12 years ago, I was working in the IT sector, and you want to see the great spreadsheets they had. It's unlikely, but somebody might actually. Some of them
You,
guys who work, they probably are thinking that right now. They're probably having dreams at night about the perfect spreadsheet. It's not me though.
you never know. Yes, but sure, it's a great point. Yes,
Yeah,
I totally agree with you, Liam. Yeah, the
yeah,
connections, and they also help with the language. When you start connecting,
yes,
and you find, as we said, that we're all sharing the same journey. We come from different parts of the
yes,
world. We come from different backgrounds, different stories, but ultimately, we are trying to adapt. When we work in a corporation, we all try to adapt. And yes,
yes.
and I suppose one day we should learn not to be afraid to raise our hand and be the first guy to say, look, I
Oh,
can't understand what you're saying. Yes, so
yeah,
that is probably the best takeaway.
yeah,
um,
absolutely.
so anybody, so thanks again for watching.
Mm.
Do you have any questions, or is there anything you want to ask either Liam or me about IT tech Ireland? So if you do have questions, feel free to post them.
Mhm.
Yeah. And maybe, in the meantime, Liam, if you want to remind people what you do, so that,
Sure, absolutely.
yeah,
This is free advertising, isn't it, Daniela? This is
absolutely.
fantastic.
You have 1 minute to pitch your business.
Yeah, look, yeah, we run an independent Irish tour company. We work with great hotels, and I mean everything we've talked about. That's really what we try give people a fantastic experience in Ireland. We like we really work hard on getting people to see the real Ireland. Mixing the pubs we go to, we bring people to. It's a pleasure. And I think I took some great pubs off you, Daniela, over the years as well, which I've put on my list. But you're going to see castles every day. You're going to see some of the most beautiful landscape. It's very close to a dream job. You
Cool.
know,
Yeah.
but very similar to the IT industry. The best part of the job are the great people I've met, and that hasn't changed. I have friends from all over the US, Canada, who keep in touch with me, and it's some of them come back, which is just wonderful. And it is, when you have an industry or you're working in a job where people become a long term part of your life and your friendship, that's great.
Yes.
That's great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I defo agree with you there.
Yeah, wonderful.
So, yeah, I mean, if you feel free to connect with Liam on LinkedIn, Facebook. He's got a website as well. I will share all the links again, so that if you're thinking of visiting Ireland, if you have questions, even like what is Ireland like, you can connect with him and ask. And I'm sure he does remember something of his IT years as well. So you can also ask about that topic if you want to. So if there are no questions, I think this comes to an end, Liam. So I
Yeah,
thank you.
getting close to Guinness time now, Daniela. Trying to
Yes,
even
yes, and we're getting closer to St. Patrick. So yeah,
got to put the practice in.
yes, exactly. So yeah, so thank you very much, Liam, for being here with me.
Most welcome.
And yes, and thank you everybody for sticking around, for being here with us. And sorry again for those small technical glitches we had at the beginning. Yeah, next time we get some IT support.
If only
And
we knew people.
yeah, we used to, but yeah, that's a different story. Okay, Liam, thank you very much, and thanks everybody
Yes.
for being with us.